Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another week of the Let's Talk Social Innovation podcast. I hope you've had an amazing start to your week, but if not, we can kickstart that right here. I'm your host, Ian Kahende, and if you've been rolling with us for a good amount of time on our YouTube or our Spotify video podcast, you're going to notice that we are in a very different environment right now. And I hate to inform you, but that is going to be the norm for the rest of this season because my main studio ended up flooding and it has a lot of extensive damage. So this will be a nomadic podcast for the rest of this season. Sure, for my audio listeners, not much has changed. You still get to hear my voice. You get to hear the voice of the incredible people I have on, but it's going to be a little bit of a transition period for video. Hopefully this is the last time, the first and the last time that we have to use Riverside for this season in particular. But looking for a new space, we will see how it goes. We're going to be testing this out. Anyways, let me get through this week's bulletin board. So, same as episode 1, building a beloved community will be Saturday, September 21st from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It'll be in the assembly room in the William Pitt Union. It is a peace building and nonviolence workshop. There will be free food. You should be there. It will be an excellent activity to be a part of. Secondly, for the FHC Latinx Hispanic Heritage Month, there will be a showing of 2023's Problemista at 6:30, September 25th. RSVP link will be in the description below. And lastly, envisioning a Just Pittsburgh. The second call for art is out and about. You can find the website link in the description of this episode. There's criteria for the art you can submit. Take a look. There are cash prizes. I think you would be doing yourself a disservice to not submit art and help your community. So take a look. Deadline is October 20th. You still have time to get the ball rolling. But anyways, everything else aside, the reason why we are here in the first place is the incredible Brent Rondon, Senior International Trade Consultant at the Institute for Entrepreneurial Excellence here at Pitt. How are we feeling today, Brent?
Great, Ian. Thank you for having me today. Excited as you are, and sorry about the flooding in your studio.
Hey, it is what it is. So, for anybody new here, how we usually do things is we'll be going through Brent's life story, how he got to where he's at. He will be passing on his best life advice to the audience. We have our weekly artist spotlight. And then to close out the second half, we'll be talking about how to fight homesickness as an immigrant. But, anyways, everything else aside, let's get into the meat of the podcast. So, Brent, take me from the beginning. What was your family situation like?
Hey, Ian, thank you much. Appreciate your time and your interest in reaching out to people like me in Pittsburgh. When I came, we were not too many internationals in Pittsburgh. Now I see more, so this is great. But going back to what my grandma used to say, everybody has a story, right? So every head is a world of experiences and activities and good times, bad times. So you're not the only one having good time, or you're not the only one having bad time. It's like this is what we are, humans. So in my case, I was born in the States, but at the age of 5, my dad came to the States to do his master's and PhD, He was a professor in Peru at the University of Agriculture in Peru. And after that experience, my mom had to learn English. Well, she was a stay-at-home mom. I am a twin. So the twins were born in Fargo, North Dakota. We were the only dark hair babies at the time. A big deal for Fargo. The news, the media, the big shopping centers came to see the two weird babies in Fargo, and so we were in the news. I mean, it was like my mom was like, what's going on?" So once my dad finished the PhD, we went back to Peru. So remember, I was a U.S. citizen going back to a different country. Um, so since I was a baby, no issues with visas. I just stayed in Peru as a U.S. citizen, and the U.S. embassy was checking on us every 5 years just to see how things were going. In that trip, though, in that trip going back, a tragedy happened. So I was five. We flew first, my mother and the twins, from the US to Peru, but my dad decided to drive. He purchased a RV, and he said, "I'm going to drive all the way to Panama to put the truck in the ship from there to Panama to Peru. Then he would fly." But driving towards the US and entering into Mexico, an accident happened and he lost his life. So we were five. We never see him again. So we stayed, right? We stayed in Peru. Economic hardship, happened. But we were just there trying to make out life the best we can. The culture is different because the family tends to be more as a incumbency group. So kind of like start helping out. So I grew up in that environment, right? Lots of family, community,
You grew up in a
sharing,
village.
sharing stuff, so that was a really good for the social safety net, right? So you have that. So the government doesn't have safety net, but the family
Hmm.
offers you the safety net. So that was really the experience growing up. Also is a very rich in human relationships, food, music. So that's part of the culture. Local trips, because we're in the Andes Mountains. Okay, so the city where I grew up is in the Andes Mountains, so it's 8,000 feet above sea level, or 2,500 meters above sea level. So that's kind of high, but beautiful. Lots of earthquakes because we have lots of volcanoes
Hmm.
surrounding the city. So that was part of the experience.
I
We
bet
also
you had
have,
some beautiful
yeah,
views.
beautiful views. I mean, you could hike. I mean, not as high as the top of the mountains because they're really really high, but you can have that experience, and also the other experience is the culture, because we are from the Spanish culture, but the locals are the Inca culture, and in Peru, the Incas, as you know, the Inca culture 500 years ago, they were the top culture in South America, because the Aztecs and the Mayas, they were in Central America and Mexico, but we were in South America. They were the Inca culture. And so, but when the Spaniards came from Europe, they decimated that culture. Okay, so they really did tragic things, and so today you still have remnants of the Inca culture. What you see is their ruins, the Inca ruins. Machu Picchu is the main prime example of many people want to go and see Machu Picchu, uh, the city, the lost city of the Incas. But so you grew up with that culture attached to your Spanish culture. Okay, so I heard when growing up, my grandma had a farm, and all the workers were Inca descent people, so they didn't speak Spanish. They spoke Quechua and Aymara, which are the Inca languages. So grandma was, trilingual. My mother, not too much, but we in the social system, because of that uh, conquered um, mentality. Um, the maids come to live in your house,
Mm-hmm.
Inca maids, and now they speak Quechua, Aymara, but they learn Spanish. So I grew up with one of them raising us as part of the family. Even today, my mom is 89. I just came back from Peru. I went to celebrate her birthday, and the maid's still there. She's 75. So this is like part of the social structure. Okay, is that
Mm-hmm.
so it's not expensive like you will imagine in the States having a maid. It's like forget it. But
And they're like
there,
family.
right, it's like a family. They live with you. They get educated, so they grow up with you. So she's like a big sister or second mom for me. So that was the environment. So fast forward, I went to college in Peru for agriculture engineering because my dad was an agriculture engineer. But once I was there in college, I kind of like didn't like much about that type of career. It's interesting because it's science, biology, chemistry, and all the food science, amazing biology for how the plants, from the seed, create a plant, a fruit, food for humans to eat is amazing. But I was just not my main call. So when I finished college, now by the way, in Peru, college is longer than the States. It's 5 year college, but then when you graduate, you still have to do a thesis work
Mm-hmm.
to present that work in front of a juror. That takes 2 more years approximate after the five. So it's 7 years that you finish with college. Okay. So I did
And
all
that's
of
just
that.
for a bachelor's.
Yeah, just for a bachelor's degree. So that is crazy, but I guess that's the system. I think that's a European system that they want you to study, you get a bachelor's degree, but you want for you to be recognized in the professional associations, you need to have this professional uh, thesis work, and then so it's experiments, lab work, experiment, field work, you prove something, so you have an hypothesis, you say I will going to prove whatever, and then you go through that process, and then at the end you prove it or disapprove it, whatever. So that's 7 years. Okay, so I did that, and then I went. We the twins we moved back to the States because remember we were U.S. citizens. At that time, our English level was not up to par. We were still with Spanish. So as a U.S. citizen, not speaking English, that was an interesting dynamic. Uh, because when I came and I applied to different places, the, my I realized that I needed ESL, English as a second language, but not too many people understood that. They were saying, "Why you need that? If you are a U.S., you were born here." I mean, no, because I grew up in a different country, so
Mm-hmm.
that was an adjustment. But then after that, I started to search really what I like, and I found that many people, even in college, don't still know what they want or they're not sure what they want and nobody talks about it. But when I start asking my friends in the college in Peru if they really like what they were studying, 80% said no. So
I
I
was
was
gonna
not the
say
only one. So I say nobody talks about it, and
it's
that's
very
really
relatable.
not good because we're wasting resources, time, money, your life, so I think that we should put more emphasis in what you have to get to know yourself
Mm-hmm.
and then start digging what you really are good at, because everybody's good at something, right?
See, but the thing is, they're the ways things should be, and they're the way that things are. The way things should be is that we realize that we're sinking so much time, so much money into something that we don't love. So we should
Yeah.
probably be more vocal about that. But
Yeah.
reality is that we're embarrassed because we spent
Right.
so much time and so much money learning something that we're not interested in. So we keep it to ourselves because
Right.
it's like I don't want to say I spent $100,000 on a college degree and 4 or 5 years of my life for something that I don't want to use. I was not interested in learning. I sunk a down payment on a house on that. It's a little embarrassing, you know?
So that's I think that everybody loses, in those 5 years. So I think that we should pay more attention to that. It's okay to say that you are exploring, you are searching, you ask questions, you meet people, you take all these classes, seminars, lectures about that. Learning about yourself. It's not easy to learn about yourself. We are very complex individuals, lots of experiences that we accumulated over the years. So to go to the next step with saying, okay, this is what I want to be, or I like, it's not easy. Okay. So that took me all that, plus being now in the States, learning English. Okay. And then after that, I found out that life throws you help. Okay, life throws you angels. Life throws you lifesavers when you are drowning. Okay, always. But sometimes you don't realize that, or you're not ready to pick up on those helpers, because really it's a lot of helpers, but you just don't realize about that. So I learned that when I was living in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. The twins, we were there, low English, studying, lots of helpers, amazing, lots of helpers. And they were really good heart people helping us. So that was really amazing to see that human experience, fellow humans helping, fellow humans. So that's real, okay? That's real. So just you need to be open to detect that help, and open to receive the help, and then move forward, because that what happened to me. My first job didn't happen because I wanted to the contrary. I was the one putting obstacles to myself. I was thinking, how can somebody hire me if my English is not too good? So no way, I am not going to apply because my English is not too good. Forget it. So I was putting the barriers myself. So I met, in the college I was studying English, I met one of the staff administrators, and she said, forget about it. You have to let them say yes, or let them say no, but not you. You don't say no to yourself. So she applied for me to this job. Um, I was afraid about that, but she did it anyway. She sent a paperwork. They called me for an interview. I was in the interview, and again another life situation happened. The person who interviewed me that day, 2 days before that interview, I had a dinner at a friend's house, and that lady invited her friends, and this interviewer people was one of the people in the dinner 2 days ago. So I remember her, but of course in the interview she didn't remember me. So she had an interview, whatever. I performed pretty well because the interview was data entry, how fast you type, with no mistakes, and I was excellent doing that. Um, so after that, I reminded her that I was a guy 2 days ago so a connecting point was happening. That's another thing. You need to connect somehow with people. If you don't connect at any level, any level, maybe that interview or that meeting time is going to be forgotten. Okay, but
Mhm.
if you look for places to connect at any level, might help you. Okay, so in
Yeah,
this case,
soft
I think that
soft skills are important.
yeah, soft skills are very important, especially nowadays. Yeah, very very important. So don't be afraid to talk about yourself. What you like, what you don't you like, because at some level you need a connecting point. So this happened with this lady when she said, "Oh, so you are friends of this lady?" Yes. Oh, just my good friend. And I guess we connected, but regardless, she offered me the job the following Monday. Okay, I couldn't believe it because my English was not too advanced. But then again, I got a job with the state, and amazing, and continue that. So then I start searching what I like. Happens to be again another uh, situational activity that happened is that the United States was going to sign the new agreement between United States, Mexico, and Canada called NAFTA, the North America Free Trade Agreement. And they needed, at that moment in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, they needed one person who spoke Spanish because Mexico speaks Spanish. So I was the guy there just by chance, okay? So they put me in that group: international affairs, international relations, international agreements. That's what I liked. Okay? That's what I discovered. This is for me. This is my call. I'm going to fully go forward with this. So start searching which schools offer graduate school on international affairs, international relations, international economics. And I found many schools, of course. I attended a minority student graduate fair. You know, it's a school fair for graduate schools, but only for minority students in Philadelphia. So I went there. I met many universities, but the person from Pitt was, I think, the most friendly, open person. Wanted to get to know me more, so I felt that call. And besides working in Harrisburg, I was working at that time for the Department of Transportation, PennDOT, and I could tell problems from the whole state. Okay, so entertain. I was in customer service, so problems coming from the Philly area versus problems coming from the Pittsburgh area, I could see a big difference. So coming problems from the Philly area, they were big, major problems. Coming from Pittsburgh was only the friendly problems, very small problems, very nice. So I could see the difference in culture between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh just by entertaining problem questions. And then the friendly person at Pitt. Then the rankings at the school. Pitt was one of the top schools in that area. So everything was working out. So I moved to Pitt, did my graduate school of public international affairs called GISPIA, GSPIA grad school. I also discovered that Pitt has the University Center for International Studies, UCIS, and they have different centers. So Center for Latin America Studies, Center for African Studies, Center for Middle East Studies, Center for Russian. So I entered into the Center for Latin American Studies, and I got a graduate certificate of Latin American Studies. So all that it was a rich experience. Because GISPIA has international students coming to study there. So half were international students, half were US students. So I made lots of good friends there. So overall, I could not say beautiful things about those two programs at Pitt. So I would encourage people, if you are interested in that type of cultures, languages, traveling, international economics, or maybe in the future you want to be a U.S. ambassador, for example, you can look at these programs. Amazing. So talking about resources, okay, you were talking about before this program about the calendar of events that Pitt is offering, and I was amazed to see the resources that we offer to the students. Lots of resources, right? But maybe the students are not aware, maybe, of those resources, especially international students, because in our country we don't have those resources. Here we do, but we don't
There is
know.
something for everyone here.
Yeah, and we don't know sometimes how to ask for the resources, or where to ask. So I am glad that you put that calendar of events before this interview, especially for international students. So so after I graduated, I needed to look for a job. Okay, how you look for a job is different for international minded, international culture person versus a U.S. student, because my fellow classmates, the locals, they were doing the normal approach: is sending resumes, and I was asking to them, who are you sending these resumes to? Do you know these people? Are you connected? No. Then how are they going to hire you? Well, that's how it works. No, that's not. Well, you know what? In my system, that you need to do is go out, meet people, connect at some level, then you send a resume. But you cannot
Mm-hmm.
send a resume to just blank. No, that's how we do it. So, well, okay. So I start doing my own way, weaving, talking to professors, alumni, until I got connecting points, connecting points, connecting points. Some didn't work out, but one worked out, which was the job I got. So the job was for an international business consultant um, at Duquesne University, but the person was connected to one of the professors at Pitt. So it was all connecting. So when I got the interview, really, the person already knew more about me. And then that helped, I think, but plus a degree, plus that language I speak to get a job. So I was the first in my class to get a job. Okay. So when my fellow classmates were looking, sending resume, I got a job. They couldn't believe it. How do you get a job? I said, well, connecting points, networking, connecting, talking, asking, referrals.
I was gonna say
So
there's a lot that you can't just find in a resume, you know?
yeah, it's a blank piece of, it's so cold. So that was my system, okay? And then through my job, I always try to connect people because if I connect this person with what I offer with other countries, for example, they will make they will have a better experience doing international business. So so that's what my job is. My job is to help U.S. companies to do international business. Okay, so in the paper sounds easy, but sometimes it's not too easy. So that's where I take them through the process. What should they be prepared about, and different levels of preparedness. Like we have company preparedness, we have market preparedness, and then we have the product preparedness. So there's a lot of readiness they have to achieve before they want to jump, overseas. So, but I am international. I love what I do. I love to meet cultures, people. So I think I am in the right type of job activity, and I like to help. So this is perfect. So I cover, depends on the grant I get. I might cover only Allegheny County, or I might get cover 10 counties in this area, or sometimes I cover the entire state, or sometimes depends on the grant I cover the whole United States. Okay, so so I did projects the whole United States, recruiting companies to organize a trip, and let's have a trip to go to this country where there's a trade show there. We're going to exhibit at that trade show, but I'm going to prepare you to exhibit. And then we travel as a group. We were there, had exhibits, and then the show opens. The locals come, interact with you, and then that's where we are in that business and trying to connect and trying to do business. So very exciting. Okay, it's very fast moving. You are not getting bored because you meet different people, different experiences. Also, the mindset is different. While we go in those trips sometimes with a goal in mind, but how you achieve the goal is different from different people. So the book tells you, okay, you have to get there, you have to meet an appointment, present your products, and then hope for the best. You do follow-ups. But what they don't tell you is that once you are in the foreign territory, the person who picked you up from the airport, and they say, okay, so we have an hour to get to the appointment, and the trip takes 50 minutes. So we're going to get, okay. But in the trip, the driver goes to a different area, which is, let's say, a boat show. A boat show? What? No, because there's a boat show, and I want you to see the boats because we have this beautiful boat. Wait, but I have an appointment. that I need to
Mm-hmm.
get through. No, forget about the appointment. Let's go to see the boats. And the guy takes you to see the boats. And now you're worried, you're going to get there late. Who cares about the boats? I want a meeting, okay? But that's cultures. So the guy is taking you to a different place where you're going to meet different people, and you actually the person met different people, exchange cards, very informal, okay? Exchange cards, and the guy said, "Oh, so you're from the States? Are you going to be there for 3 days? Why don't we have dinner later?" "Oh, really? Dinner? Okay, let's have dinner." So then we kept going to the meeting. We got there late, like half hour late, but no problem, no problem, no problem, because time is not money in other countries. Okay, in the United States, time is money, right? Not in other countries. Okay, relax. Time is not money. So they are having their coffee, waiting for you, half hour. They're talking, no problem. You get there, so worried about, sorry about. No, don't worry. Nice to meet you. Nice to relax. Have a meeting, exchange cards. They want to get to know you. That's another thing. Do not talk business first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do not talk business first. Okay. That's another
You gotta
rule.
break down some walls first.
Yeah. So do not talk business first. When you get there, you have coffee, relax, talk about the weather, talk about a boat show. Now you have a topic. The boat show. I've been at the boat. Really? Everybody talks about a boat. And somebody says, I have a boat. Do you want to have a ride in my boat? Sure. Let's do it. Tomorrow morning. Yes. So now forget about business. Okay. It's all about human relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And what they are doing in those meetings is not too much about the business yet. They are checking you out. They are checking if you are a flexible person, if you are accommodating person, if you are open to take these twists and turns, and it's okay. So they're checking you out, not too much on the business yet, but on the personal. What type of person? Can I do business with this person really? Because for them, the the they don't do business with a company. They do business with a person. Okay. So for them, the business is secondary. The first thing is a person. Is a person going to be the person I get along with when they come to visit for 2, 3 days? So that's what they're checking you out. Okay. Not too much on the business. So once they find a connecting point, again, connecting point, okay, with you, then they will talk about business. So first is
Mm-hmm.
social, human experiences, your kids, your family, where you got, where do you live, lots of topics. Okay, then business happens. Um, then the person comes back to the States, uh, worry because maybe, it was not what the goal oriented. But guess what? Business comes because they like the person. They like the person. Now business comes. And sometimes business comes not only from that group, the appointment group, but business comes from the boat show people that they met at the boat show. And that's where business comes from. It's amazing. Okay. So when you take these trips overseas, you have to change hats. Okay. To put a new
Mm-hmm.
hat, be open, be don't get upset, relax. Time is not money. Okay. Take it easy. You go with the flow and you will accomplish more business than you ever think. Yeah. So that happens all the time when I consult with people and, and try to help them out how to do business. That's is an amazing thing. So at Pitt, we had the business center. We help anybody because we are funded by Pitt and other sources, and so we don't charge for consulting time. So anybody can approach us saying, "I want to meet with a consultant to go over my idea." or if I have a project or you have a company product, it's okay. So we can help. So we can help at all levels. The startups, idea type people, or more advanced, or maybe a established company, a big company that wants to.
So the institute will help in any phase, from planning, initiating, execution, closing, any phase of any project.
Any phase, correct. So we are 10 people here available to meet with anybody. It's okay. You are just an idea. It's okay. We have every 15 days, we have free webinars on how to take from the idea to the next step. So we call it a first step. So you can attend a first step webinar, it's free. And then after that comes a second step webinar, which is more writing your idea in a piece of paper. And after that, you can come and meet with any of our 10 business consultants free, just to chat more, just to go more, okay? Your idea, because the market is an amorphous. The market, we call a market, what's a market? Who is a market? The market are the clients, and clients could be people or could be organizations or businesses or hospitals or government. So there are two types of customers, right? People like you and I, individuals, or the other one, which is huge, are B2B, business to business, organizations. The University of Pittsburgh can be a client, for example. The University of Pittsburgh, a huge University of Pittsburgh, they can be a client. So you have to go through that. Who is your client? Who is the market? Well, that's an easy task. Okay. So, but in that process, we have lots of resources again. Resources, free resources. Amazing. We have our own Hillman library. At Hillman Library, we have a business entrepreneurship clinic, and that's run by a business librarian. The business librarian is only does business. So all our clients who come to us, they take the first step, second step. They also meet with a librarian, 1 hour. They can meet more if they want to, online, to go over this: who is the market, who are the competitors, what's the price I'm going to charge, stuff like that. But this is all free. It's at no cost. It's amazing. Okay, so I just want to let your audience know that, talking about resources, we are the place for resources. Okay, the university is huge, and we can do whatever you ask us to do. Just ask. And in the business area, we can really. Also, we have, for example, access to the different schools. So, school of business, school of engineering, a school of music, a school of whatever. So sometimes companies ask, do you have students who want to do internship in our companies? Sure, we can access. Or do you have, I want to hire a recent student, graduate student. Sure, we have our career center. We can connect. It's amazing the amount of stuff that we can. Also, we have class projects. So the School of Business, for example, has a class project. So they're going to assign 2 students to a company. They have the students, but they don't have a company. We have the companies. So they come to us and say, hey, I want to do a project the whole semester where 2 students will help a local business. And sometimes they ask me for the type of business. So they can say, I want a business that is minority student, minority owner, underserved. Even they can go deeper, saying women owned a business, or it can be Hispanic owned, Asian owned, African American owned, Native American. It's amazing that the clients we have, on this side, okay, they all need help. So the students, easily we can do the connecting, okay, if they want to.
So, for anybody watching or listening, as always, there will be links in the description for everything that the Institute of Entrepreneurial Excellence and the Small Business Development Center do. So, all the resources will be available to you in the link down below. Now, before we hit this week's artist spotlight, I'm asking you, Mr. Brent Rondon, to pass on the greatest piece of wisdom you possibly can to our audience. For anybody watching or listening, what's the best piece of advice you can give?
Life is a circle. So whatever you do today, good or bad, be careful because life is a circle. Life will come back. So open the heart, open your mind, be friendly, be sincere, genuine, meet people, not only from your own background, meet people from other backgrounds. We are in a university environment. We are blessed to have all these people coming together in one place from different countries, different backgrounds, different areas of the country. So don't just hang out with your friends, reach out, leave your comfort zone, reach out and get involved with different groups, organizations, student organizations, stuff like that. Because guess what? That will help you in the future for your job. When you are assigned to Japan for an assignment for 6 months, now what? Okay, so now in college, you can recreate that experience here. So take advantage of the resources. And again, life is a circle. Whatever you do today, it will come back. So be cool, man. Be cool.
I will be taking that to heart. I hope everybody else who's hearing this is too, because that hit me like a truck. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Now, moving into this week's artist spotlight, we'll be playing the song Kid Again by Tilt Controls. I hope y'all enjoy. Hope y'all enjoyed Kid Again by Tilt Controls. Links to all of the artists' pages will be in the description of this episode. Now, the theme for the month of September here at the podcast has been strength in diversity, where we have a very wide array of guests who talk about very specific issues to their cultures, issues that you're not going to find talked about many other places. Now, this week's topic, we'll be talking about fighting homesickness and building community. So, Brent, I open up the floor to you.
Thank you, Ian. Again, glad I am here in your program and thank you for the invite. I am really excited to talk to you and your audience. Yeah, that topic, homesickness. I think everybody goes through that experience. Even when you're a kid, even when you're at home, um, you might have that homesickness. Because you can lose a relative, you can lose somebody very dear to you, and then you miss that person because that's a hole in your life. So that happened to me, when I was very very young in age. You know, my dad died in a car accident, and suddenly I lost that that figure that my life then was empty. So it's not easy. Of course, you have to find. You're a kid. Well, the family will take over. About you. If you are more up in age, a big deal happens when you finish high school, and then you go to college, and right there is a big earthquake in your life. Um, and all depends, right? So how far you go, or some kids say, "I want to go far. I don't want to be around the family anymore," and they go really far, and then after year one, year two, they ask to be closer to family, just because the homesickness. So this homesickness is real, but you have to find ways to manage it. It's not going to disappear, but you manage. Okay. So, for example, I met a lady who escaped a communist country. Um, as you know, in a communist country, you have no freedom. Uh, the government controls your life, and you are subject to receive food, a certain amount of food per month, and that's it. Or you get coupons, and the coupons are worth, let's say, $20, and that's all you have per month. So you go to the supermarket, but you can only buy worth $20. Um, or they make you go to college. It's free, but guess what? After college, there's no jobs because there's no market. There's no capitalistic system. It's a controlled uh, communist society. So if you study, let's say, to be architecture, they will send you to flip pancakes, because that's what they say that you should do. Or if you study English as a second language, for example, they will send you to build a stadium. So very inefficient. And so this lady moved to the States, and of course, the homesickness, right? But she was amazed this side to see all the stuff that we enjoy, we have. So a sense of appreciation of what you have was a big fighter against homesickness. So I know that you miss stuff, but you have to flip the picture and focus on what you have here. So I know that you don't have family, or you don't have your friends, or your food, your music, but flip it and say, wow, look what I have now. It's amazing. Okay. So this lady, she worked as a cleaning lady, but weekends, she was staying home crying for what she misses. Forget it. She was going out with friends and organizing small programming, cultural programming, to go out to retirement homes, and she was performing different crafts, arts, dances, music for the retirement homes, free, just to be active. So she was telling me always, I didn't leave the communist country to be here depressed, or to be here sad. Forget it. I left that situation to experience life, to be better. So that was her way to fight maybe a little bit of homesickness that she might have. Uh, then when I came to many years ago, from Peru, I arrived to the States. Uh, after you passed the honeymoon phase, then start sinking in, oh, my family, oh, my mom, oh, my food, oh, my music. And there were nothing of that here. Okay. So you try to get that music, which nowadays is very easy, right? You can get the music. Food might be a challenge unless you find ingredients. So I have many local small businesses who are from Latin America in Pittsburgh, and they have to go to Chicago or New York to get ingredients. So these people drive once a week to New York, 8 hours. Uh, they get stuff. They can drive back, and then they use that for a week for the business. To to offer to the customers, and then they go back again. So they do this in a small van. So, for example, they come to us in the business center here at Pitt, and they said, I would like to get a loan to buy a truck. So, from a van to a truck, because a truck, instead to go every week, I might go every 2 weeks. So I'm more efficient, right? So they're always looking but the business feels that homesickness, because the business gives them access to the ingredients, the food, how they cook. Maybe they talk to the main chef back in their countries for new recipes. And then the customers will be mainly people from that country who come to the business to eat, but also locals, Pittsburgh people who come to learn, to be open, to taste. So they develop new friendships with the locals in Pittsburgh and with their country people. So I think that in addition to be a business, they're fighting homesickness. The other one is there are certain community groups that cater to different populations. So in Pittsburgh now we have many who are community groups catering to international community. So that's easier now than before, that these people can go join the volunteer groups and hang out with internationals from all over the world. They are here in Pittsburgh, and they have their dinners or potlucks or picnics or parties, and suddenly you are now hanging out with all these people from different countries, which is part of the experience. So at the end, you become not a citizen of that previous country that you used to live, or not a citizen of this country, but you become a global citizen. So you are a global citizen, okay? So you could be US plus whatever country citizen, because you enjoy that. And that keeps you busy. These guys have activities every single day of the week in Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh is not a boring place at all. But the key is that you dig, you knock some doors, and then you will be now every day with activities. It's a lot of activities, very busy. So all depends how busy you want to be, okay? But it's really lots of groups for homesickness. And community, that's the key, community-based organizations, we call it CBOs. There are plenty of those groups in town that cater to specific groups or cater to global issues. For example, there is a World Affairs Council, and the World Affairs Council caters to youth in Pittsburgh who want to travel overseas for 2 weeks. And they have a program, they train the youth, and then the summer comes and the kids can go 2 weeks to a country to live with a family. It's only 2 weeks, so it's okay. So come on. and I think that program is funded. So a great opportunity for kids to explore. But there are other groups like Global Pittsburgh, for example, that they host international delegations who are paid by the US government, and they're professionals. They come to Pittsburgh from different countries on different disciplines, only 2 weeks or a week. Sometimes few come for a month, very, very few come for a semester long. But they're looking for houses, for Pittsburgher houses. So if you or your family in Pittsburgh would like to host a person for dinner, for example, it's okay. But you can even go farther. Say they can stay in my house for 2 weekends. Okay, you can do that too. Or you can say I host a person for a month in my house, or 6 months. So there's a lot of opportunities for people to engage with locals. The international populations, they have to also be open to interact with the locals. So because sometimes we internationals, we feel we want to hang out with our group only. So it's like a close knit, which is okay for your own well-being. It's okay, but you have to be open to reach out, leave that, and go out and meet the locals too, because that's what life is about. When we live here, we want to hang out with other people, to see what they do. And then resources, right? Resources. Remember, the average the minimum salary in international countries who are developing countries is $300 a month. A month. Some are less, but I would say $300 a month. In the United States, it's $55,000,
Mm-hmm.
$55,000 per year. Um, uh, so so it is a big shock, you know. So this country we have resources, in other countries we don't. So I would say there are many people here in Pittsburgh. I will be more than happy to help anybody who is in this stage of homesickness or lacking community contacts. Lots of groups. I know lots of those. So happy to help. Like I am a non-profit organization. As a University of Pittsburgh, we help people free. We don't charge for the business side. Like there are similar groups like us, but not for business, right? It's for other things. Like I have a guy, for example, in the soccer area. He does a tournament of the UN, the United Nations in Pittsburgh. So he identifies different communities, including Pittsburghers, and they put soccer tournaments mimicking the FIFA World Cup in Pittsburgh. It's funded, so different countries play against different countries, and there's a cup. So there are many different things that people can get engaged and have a good time.
See, now speaking of organizations and community, I know a very big part of your specific community is the Latin American Cultural Union. Now, I think it would be a disservice to not talk about that.
Yeah, thank you. So the Latin American Cultural Union, was founded in 1986 in Pittsburgh by then academics. They were professors or graduate students. At that time, they were only academic community of Latinos, Hispanics in Pittsburgh. So they founded this group. It's a culture group, so pretty much it's focusing on promoting culture. Could be via crafts, cuisine, PowerPoint presentations, music, dances. So that group is a volunteer group, so doesn't have any paid staff members. So the group is there. I was a president of that group for 3 times. So I got a chance to meet the local Hispanic community in Pittsburgh, different countries, different cultures. That's another thing. Latin America is not one single monolithic structure. Uh, each country has their own twist on the language, Spanish language, and the culture twist different. Also, wartime history wars against countries. Sometimes that still remains. So you're going to make a project and you have a person from this country, do not put the rival country next to that because you know that they still don't. Okay, so you need to manage that. Okay, so there's a lot of nuances, details for that. But in addition to the LACU, there's a new one called the Latin America Cultural Center, LACC, which that is funded, and they open a museum. So there's a Latin American museum now in Oakland, and I will encourage all students, staff, professors from the university to visit the Latin American Museum. Right now, they are unveiling a new exhibit called Haiti. So they are focusing on Haiti and all the richness of the culture of Haiti at the museum. That's going to go until next year in March. There are other nonprofit groups on the academic side, which is our own Center for Latin American Studies at Pitt. That's more academic, and they focus on trips. So if the students want to take a trip to Brazil, Colombia, Chile, Mexico, whatever, this group organizes these trips. So that's another opportunity for students, all in the academic area, right? Then we have social agencies. So the social agencies are more to help people in need. So there is the Casa San Jose and there's the Latino Community Center that are funded by the government, in this case, to help people in need, either food, housing, discrimination, legal fees, housing. I mean, it's amazing, okay? There's another group that caters to housing and business development. It's called a PHDC, Pittsburgh Hispanic Development Corporation. They also do that too, jobs too. They do jobs, housing, and business entrepreneurship. Then there is the country organizations. I would say the most active is Colombia, people from Colombia. It's called Colombia and Pittsburgh. They're very organized. They do events. They get together and they invite everybody. So very, very good as a country base, right? Then each country has their own informal networks. So you go to Facebook and you put Peru, like Peruvians, Peruanos in Pittsburgh or Peruvians in Pittsburgh, you will find a Peru group. Argentina in Pittsburgh, or Colombia in Pittsburgh. So you will find that the specific groups. Nowadays, Venezuela, just because happened that tragedy in Venezuela with all the corruption on the elections, the Venezuelan people are very active and they have their own Facebook. But so there are many different groups at different levels that do different things, all about Latin America. Okay, so I would encourage people to reach out and just connect. There's also the state of Pennsylvania. The state of Pennsylvania has a economic development program, and they open business offices in 13 countries. So in Latin America, they only have one country, which is Mexico. So there's a Pennsylvania business office in Mexico, for example, but they do have Pennsylvania business offices in Asia, Middle East, Europe, Australia. They used to have in Africa. They don't have any office in Africa, but they do have an agreement with Great Lakes Commission of Governors. It's a group in the Great Lakes. Since Pennsylvania is part of the Great Lakes, we can access South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, in Africa. So no matter what country, even directly to the Pennsylvania business office or to the other group, we can access any country in the world, really. And then the U.S. embassies, of course, the U.S. embassies have commercial attaché inside the U.S. embassy. So it's not only visa, passport work, they also offer business work. So any company that wants to do business in XYZ country, they can also access the U.S. embassy in that country and they talk to the commercial attaché. So that network has an office in Pittsburgh as well. So the state of Pennsylvania has an office in Pittsburgh. The commercial attaché, U.S. embassies have an office in Pittsburgh. I work with them on a daily basis, trying to promote my clients into foreign trade. So again, community, Latin America, we have all these groups. That I appreciate that you mentioned the Latin American Cultural Union, but it's all of these groups that are now funded, and so they can have more impact. So students are looking for volunteer opportunities, for example, they can reach out and be a volunteer. For example, the museum is right now short of people because they don't have tour museum guides. So therefore the museum has to close the doors some days because no people to entertain the visitors. So if you have students are bilingual, or maybe a little bit of Spanish, but they like museums and they like to learn, and then they will give a tour to visitors. For sure, they are happy to meet with them. There is also two businesses. Which one is a Pittsburgh Latino magazine, which is a real printed magazine that goes out every month, and there is the newspaper called La Mega, and La Mega is a free newspaper that goes out every month as well. So those two publications are active in Pittsburgh for people to. So they are looking also for volunteers to work, as interns or stuff like that. I mean, there's an amazing amount of resources, programs, and the University of Pittsburgh, I think this year, the Center for Latin American Studies will celebrate 60 years, 60, okay, 60 years that have been active in the University of Pittsburgh promoting Latin America studies. And they're having a celebration, of course, soon. So, just be in tune about these groups. Homesickness exists, is real, but you can fight it, and you can really be active, go out, meet people. Don't stay in your place. Don't stay just in a cocoon, right? Just go out, meet, and you will be fine.
Yeah, a big focus of this whole episode. I'd say if we were going to sum this whole episode up in one word, it would be resources. You just gave a lot of resources for anybody looking for community, and we will be sure to include as many links as possible to all these resources in the description of this episode. Now, before we close out, do you have any closing thoughts to get to the people?
Yeah, I would say there is a lot of opportunities in Pittsburgh for people not to get sad or depressed, or getting in your own hole. There's a lot of resources, friends, groups, music, talent. So you go out, explore. You can ask Ian, or you ask myself, or ask your friends, your teachers, and we all are happy to assist. We all are happy to help. So don't feel like that you are the only person that having this XYZ problem. Everybody has problems, but you just need your attitude, right? Your attitude, positive attitude to go out. So um, the attitude, I would say, is 100% of your success, because knowledge can be acquired, but attitude sometimes don't. So you have to be conscious about your attitude and just go out, break molds, go through doors, ask. And once you ask, lots of people will going to help you out. And like they did to me when I came many, many years ago to Harrisburg, I didn't speak English. And once I asked for help, lots of people came to help me and my brother out. So help is real too. Help is real. So don't lose track of that. But Ian, thank you much. Appreciate that very much. Happy to help anytime.
This was an amazing episode. We'll make sure to have Mr. Rondon's LinkedIn in the description if you'd like to reach out. But anyways, y'all, this is another amazing episode of the Let's Talk Social Innovation podcast. I hope to see y'all next week and have an incredible rest of your week. Peace out, y'all.